Today we're talking about absolute value and adding integers. So one of the big questions is, what does this symbol mean? Well, this is a negative sign. Sometimes we also call it an opposite sign. It could mean opposite of. So right now we're going to give him the title of negative or opposite. What do I mean by that? Well, here's -3, right? We can call him -3. Or we can say he's the opposite of +3, which is, again, -3. Do you get it? Hopefully. If not, ask me some more about it in class. Absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. You need to write down that definition, and here is the symbol that we use for absolute value. Here's a cartoon. That's impossible. I can't have a negative blood type because A is in the absolute value sign, and if she's telling him he's negative, well, that can't be true because A can't be negative when it's in an absolute value. Okay, let's look at this one. Here's the absolute value sign again. In case you missed the definition on the last page, it's on here again. If I have the absolute value of -2, I want to know the distance -2 is from 0 on the number line. It's 2 places away from 0. If I want the absolute value of 5, I want to know how far 5 is away from 0 on the number line. Well, it's 5 away. What about -78? How far away from 0? 78 units. And how far away is 9/10? 9/10 away. Okay? All right, let's look at variables. If I have -x, I could put any number in for x right now and think about it, but we're going to use the variable x. How far away is -x from 0 on the number line? It's x away. Okay, let's jump to 7. How far away is x from 0 on the number line? It's x away. Okay, I want you to look just in here on number 6 first. How far away is x from 0 on the number line? Well, we already said over here he's x away. This symbol, if we jump back to the first slide, you said, or you helped me come to the conclusion that that means negative or opposite of. So what we want to do here is we want to know the opposite of this, which would be -x. So the answer for number 6 is no longer x, but it's -x. The x comes out, we do the opposite, -x. 8, let's again look just here for right now. What is the absolute value of -x? How far away from 0 is he on the number line? He is x away. So this symbol right here tells us to do the opposite, so -x. Okay, take a moment, make sure you have a couple notes on that. Let's look at some examples of this. -3, how far on the number line? Take a minute and try a couple of these if you want. Pause the video. If not, I'm going to go through the answers. 3 away. Okay, if I just look at the 4 is in the absolute value sign. All right, 4 is 4 units away, but I want the opposite, so -4. X is in the absolute value, so x, and there's nothing outside of it, so he stays the same. -5 is in the absolute value. He's 5 units away, but there's that negative outside of it, or the opposite of, and it's -5. Okay, make sure you're taking good notes. All right, so opposites. We've been talking about that a little bit. Write the opposite of each integer. Okay, the opposite have the same absolute value, but different signs. So who is also 4 units away from 0? 4. So -4, the opposite is 4. The opposite of 7 is -7. The opposite of -x is x. Okay, this one's a little tricky. We've already got an opposite of -8 looking at us in front of us. So the opposite of -8, hey, it kind of looks like a smiley face, is +8. Okay, this right here is just simplifying. Now we need to write the opposite. So what is the opposite of him? -8. Okay, let's look at that one more time. I'm going to erase it. This right here is not simplified. We need to simplify this problem. The opposite of -8 is +8. This is now simplified. Now we're looking at this simplified answer of 8. Write the opposite of the integer. So the opposite is -8, and that would be our answer. We have 3 negatives now to work with for number 5. So let's look at, I've got -9. I want the opposite of that. That's +9. I want the opposite of that. That's -9. Okay? That's simplified. Let's look at it one more time. I've got a -9 in front of me. The opposite of that is +9. And the opposite of that is -9. Now, I want the opposite of this simplified integer, which would be +9. Okay, go back, rewatch that if you need to. Okay, let's try to practice these. You might want to pause the video and try these on your own. Remember, absolute value symbols, grouping symbols, 2 different things. This means distance from 0. This just is showing you that he is being grouped in some way. Go ahead and pause the video and try it if you'd like, or I'm going to just show you the answers right now. Here we go. The absolute value of -x, the distance away from x or from 0 on the number line is x. This is a -21. I want the opposite. Look, it makes a smiley face, so the answer is 21. This is a -17 in absolute value, so he's 17 away, but I want the opposite of that, so -17. 43 is 43 units away from 0 on the number line, but this symbol out here tells me to do the opposite, so -43. 58 is 58 units away from 0 on the number line. This symbol out here tells me that it's negative because I'm doing the opposite of 58, which is -58. This symbol right here changes that to a positive sign. So 58. A negative cancels out another negative, essentially. Over here, -y, the opposite of that is +y. I'm going to bring down this negative sign, and it's -y. Let's look at that one more time. I'm going to hone in on just this area right here. This, a -y's opposite is +y. If I bring down this symbol, it's a -y. Okay, let's look at addition of integers. If I'm adding integers, the one way that we can do this is to look at, okay, I've got 5 negatives and 8 negatives. So how many total negatives do I have? I have 13 negatives. It's the same way as at addition of any other kinds of numbers. If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circles, and they're all negatives, they all look the same, right? So we can combine them, add them together, and we get 13 negatives. Okay? You could also use the number line. You could have 5 negatives, and you go back 8 till you get to -13. If I have 10 negatives and I want to add 6 positives to it. Oop, I accidentally hit the wrong slide. I'm sorry. If I have 10 negatives and I want to add 6 positives to it. So here's my 6 positives. Since I've already got a bunch over here, I'm just going to get rid of 1, 2, 3. And I've got this 8, and here's 2 more, making 10. Okay, we've got 10 over here, and we've got 6 over here. Each positive cancels out a negative. So they are, poof, we're going to delete them. And I'm going to delete these. They just keep canceling each other out. Okay, if I wanted to keep going, I had 6 of these positives, 10 negatives. So how many should I really have out of the negatives? 4 negatives, right? You can also use a number line. I'm going to move these up. Okay, if I'm at -10 and I want to add 6 to it, we know addition would be going this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're at -4. Another way you can think about it is debt versus money. Okay, if I'm $10 in debt because I borrowed money from a friend and I pay them back $6, how much do I still owe them? I still owe them $4. Okay? If I am $3 in debt and now I get paid $9, how much money do I have? $6. If you started at -3 and you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we'd be at 6. So what are the rules? The rules are, if it's the same sign, add the numbers and use the common sign. If they're different signs, take the difference between the numbers and use the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. Okay, so let's look at these. Okay, different signs, same signs, different signs, same signs, different signs. So let's look at the ones with the same signs first. -1 and -6. Okay, they told us to take the sign and add them together. -7. Take the sign, it's negative, and add them together. 9. So just like if this was 7 plus 2, it would be 9. -7 plus a -2 is -9. Different signs, we take the sign that has the greater absolute value. So who is bigger in terms of absolute value? -8. Who's bigger in terms of absolute value? 9. Who's bigger in terms of absolute value? 7. So I'm going to circle the bigger one. -8 plus 4. Okay, I'm going to take the sign of the bigger one, and then I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. So if I were in debt $8 and I made $4, I'm still in debt $4. If I have $6 and I spend $7, I'm in debt $1. Take the sign of the bigger number and then subtract. 7 minus 6. Take the sign of the bigger number, positive, and subtract 4 minus 9, it would be 5. If I'm $4 in debt and I make $9, I have $5. Okay, what if we have more than one? Well, you just, again, same sign, 32 plus -22 is -54, plus a -4 is, okay, -58. Same sign here, -37 plus 8, okay, different signs. Take the sign of the bigger one, I know it's going to be negative, and it's 29. Okay, I want you to take a second and I want you to try these, and then after you pause the video, when you're finished, go ahead and see how you did. The numbers are going to show up in about 2 seconds, so make sure you pause the video, okay? All right, here are the answers. Okay, take a second to look at the answers, and then go ahead and pause the video and examine each one. This one is a little crazy because it's first we have to change him to a positive and then add the -46. Okay, that's the only one that's a little nuts. So make sure you take special note on number 8. Okay, do the same thing for this one. I want you to try these multi-step problems. And then after you pause the video, if you want to try them, I'm going to show you how to do them in just a little bit. Okay, here we go. If I have the absolute value of -4, it's +4. The absolute value of -7 is 7. I'm adding these together with the 2, so 6 plus 7 is 13. The absolute value of -3 is 3, but because this symbol's out here, it's the opposite, which is -3. Add the 7. The absolute value of -17 is 17. So -3 and 8 make 5, plus 17 is 22. All right, the absolute value of -7 is 7. I'm going to add 8 to this 7, and I get 15 plus 9, and that's 24. The absolute value of -5 is 5, and 7 minus 2 is 5, so 5 plus 5 is 10. And that is absolute value and addition of integers and a review of opposites. See you next time.